Alright everyone, so today I wanted to share with you guys how I got over 100 million gold in about 5 days of playtime. Now I actually say over 100 million because if you go to my items here, I actually still have a decent amount of unsold chests, so that's probably a decent chunk there as well. But either way, we're looking at a lot of gold, and really importantly, what I wanted to do is I really wanted to give you guys the exact details that you're going to need in order to really hit these numbers, because there's obviously a lot of gold guides out there, and I've watched a good amount of them myself, and they'll tell you these methods, but they don't really give you the details that you really need to hit these kinds of numbers, and that's obviously really important. You know, just taking Fort Solgris, for example, obviously really important, but farming Fort Solgris one way versus farming another way, the difference could easily double or even triple the amount of gold that you're actually going to get. And considering it's such a limited time thing, you've only got 48 hours to maximize on that, you really want to make sure that you're doing it right. So that's the kind of stuff I wanted to really get into the details of much more. Now, speaking of Fort Solgris, the great thing as well is the timing of this is fantastic, because we actually do indeed have a Fort Solgris event coming up. We are ending off this half stamina for free stages, and in just a few hours at the time of this is posted, we will have the half stamina for Fort Solgris. Now, this is huge. It's not one time, it is on a rotation, so you'll see this, you know, every couple of weeks or so, but it's 48 hours, and especially if you're free to play, you really need to make sure to maximize these 48 hours as best as you possibly can. Every minute that you're not farming Fort Solgris is key. So first of all is make sure that you save up your stamina pots for this. You guys, if you're free to play, this is probably the #1 reason, an event that you want to save your stamina pots for. So big disaster if you run out. Great reason to save up your silver coins for an event like this, and make sure that you are prepared. But another important thing about being prepared is making sure that you're actually farming the right stage and have the correct team composition. Now, it doesn't have to be 100% exact as long as it's close enough. The important thing is speed, and you really want to go through these runs as fast as possible. So what you're going to want to do is when we have the half stamina for Fort Solgris, you're going to want to farm the Red Book stage. And this is because this stage has the highest potential for the fastest clear time. Now, really importantly is you want a team that can go through and farm it as quickly as possible. Ideally, you want to be able to 3-turn it, which means in 3 turns, you've cleared it and you're on to the next one. Now, that could take a little bit if you're still newer. 4-turning it is fine, but you really want to try to be in that range. And the speed is key because you only have 48 hours. So I'll just show you guys the team that I use. Another really popular one as well is, instead of my Weinhardt here, a lot of people have been using Blue Gia, which is totally fine. You can use her too. In fact, she's probably even better as long as you can make sure that you're using her passive properly. If you're still taking damage and you're not quite at the point of really being able to fully utilize her, it might be better to go with something else. So just keep in mind that your goal is not the exact composition, it's getting whatever team that you can to run through this in as few turns as possible, because when you have that 48-hour window, you want to be farming basically non-stop. And if you maximize this, easily looking at between 40 to 50 million gold in that 48 hours. So that's one thing, and I always make sure to go as crazy as possible whenever these half stamina Fort Solgris events come out. Easily going to be looking at those numbers, but we still have some other half stamina events that have some major potential to get huge gold gains. I want to talk a little bit about the boss battle one, because that's usually the first one in the rotation. It also seems to be the one that they have lately been running for more than 2 days. It's actually been going off for 3 days. And the boss battles are important for a couple different reasons. There's a few key details here that I want to mention that other guides won't, that will actually increase the amount of gold. Now, first one is obvious. The boss battles give you a default amount of 6,000 gold, which means you really want to make sure that you are using gold food all the time in boss battles. Between these half stamina events, make sure you're prepared, make sure that you're farming the materials in order to make these puddings. You want to make sure to have a ton of these ready for the half stamina events. This is going to increase the gold that you get, just the raw gold, from 6,000 per run all the way up to 12,000 per run. So that's going to be huge, first of all. Now, another thing here is taking a look at the actual drop list. Now, there's lots of reasons to farm the boss stage. Gold is just one of them. We've also got the chalices, which are huge for awakening, and you've also got the SSR runes, which are going to be really important for, enhancement type materials. But something that you can actually do, which somebody, not anybody that I'm aware of that has mentioned, for additional gold, you're also going to be getting an insane amount of these 3 and 4 star chalices, and even the 2-star ones, but the 3 and 4-star ones are pretty important. Now, a lot of people will always just automatically default to combining them into the higher level chalices, which is fine. You can do that. If awakening is your #1 priority, go for it. But if gold is a bit higher at a priority, eventually you're probably going to get to a point where you're essentially going to have been caught up on the amount of chalices that you need versus the amount of them that you're getting. Might not quite be there now, but eventually people will probably be getting to that point, and it might not be worth it for you at that point to combine the insane amount of 3-star chalices, for example, in order to make a 6-star chalice. It takes a lot of them, and you can actually end up selling these for a decent amount of gold. Now, to my knowledge, the 3-star ones sell for 3,000 gold, and the 4-star ones actually sell for 12,000 gold. Let me just confirm this by actually going to my inventory here and just showing you guys. So we've got 4-star, which are indeed going to sell for 12,000 each, regardless of the type that you get. And then the 3-star ones are going to end up selling for, this is 2-star. The 2-star ones will sell for 600 each. You're going to get a lot of those, though. And then the 3-star ones, if I can actually find them, here they are. These are going to sell for 3,000 each. So they pile up like crazy. I would still keep a stack of, around 100 of them or so, just to be 100% for your awakenings. But if you get an insane amount of extras, an option instead of combining them is definitely to sell the extras for gold. Same with the actual materials here, like these things, right? Exact same situation. These sell for 1,000 each, so not quite as enticing. You won't get as many of them, but it still does pile up. So as long as you keep enough of them in order to awaken your units, all the extra ones, just go ahead and sell them, and all that extra gold is going to pile up. And you'll probably realize that the boss battles are actually really, really good for gold. So definitely make sure to utilize that when it pops around as well. And the last half stamina event that we have is actually the one that's currently going on right now, which is getting close to ending here. Really, really important because there's kind of 2 different things that you can do with this half stamina event. Now, the obvious one is, of course, going and farming gear sets. If you do that, make sure that you're doing the repeatable quest so you get that guaranteed SSR. That's totally fine. That is one purpose of this half stamina event. But another really big one is farming out your food materials. This is going to be huge, especially when this is going on. Make sure that you are farming the materials for the puddings, because of course you're going to need those puddings for the boss event, or the boss half stamina when that comes around. So the 2 that I really like to do, Dalmali Plains is going to give you the main ingredients, and then I also like to do Broken Ruins for the secondary ingredients for those puddings. That's a big one. Also, just any extra foods. It's surprisingly, if you've got a good way to farm food, I would always suggest just going with 1 unit. Farm the easy stage, of course, because it's just not worth it. If you take a look at the rewards, you'll see here that the trade-off versus the difficulty and the extra stamina, it's just not worth it. Go with 1 unit. Somebody like Hauser with AoEs, you'll be burning through these really, really quickly, and you can farm hundreds, if not thousands, of these ingredients overnight in a period of several hours. So if you have enough puddings as well, farming for your character's affinity, and also, honestly, even just making food and vendoring it, I know that's a bit of a bold statement right there, but it's not terrible, especially with the actual buff that sells items for 20% more from Veronica. Food does end up selling for 1,000 gold each, actually 1,200 with that 20% buff. And remember that when you actually cook food, at the very minimum, you are going to be getting 3. You're going to get 3 from a regular success, you're going to get 4 from a super success, and you are going to get 5 from an ultra success. So 3 ingredients, 1 of each kind, is not just going to give you 1 plate of food. It's at the very minimum going to end up giving you 3. Probably averages out to about 4 or so would be my guess. Like that time I ended up getting 4. So, you know, even if I did decide to vendor this, which I won't because this is a gold food, but if it's a food I didn't need, you're looking at 4,800 gold right there. So could actually pile up a decent amount of gold from that as well. So in terms of the priority order though, and how much potential you have for gold farming from these events, number 1 easily by far is going to be the Fort Solgris. You absolutely want to make sure to prioritize this, use your stamina potions for this, and try to get as much gold as you can. Out of the 48 hours, you really want to make sure that you're farming as many of those as possible. Second place would probably be boss battles. And a great thing about boss battles as well, not just for gold, lots of potential there for equipment and also awakening materials. That's going to be second place. And in third is going to end up being the free quests. So that's kind of the priority list. Hopefully I was able to throw some additional pointers and details in this video that a lot of other gold videos don't really throw at you. That will hopefully help you maximize the amount of gold that you get. And I'm going to leave it here because I threw an insane amount of info for today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Really do appreciate all the support, everyone. And feel free to leave a quick like as well. I absolutely love the fact that there are so many new supporters lately. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching and enjoying. And more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, take care, everyone. And this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.